And we are off for game number 1 in this best of 5 series for Classic Tetris Biweekly. Tetris for Lapis, Tetris for Winter. And we remain tied to the first 12 lines. Nice adjustment for Winter. As the boards start to climb, players waiting for the bar. Winter will take burns. Lapis will not. Might be forced to, though. Will do so there. The L doesn't go all the way left, so now has some trouble on the left side of the board. Never mind, gets the bar over. And it's all solved. Has a T-spin, but will the T come? Oh my god, got that bar left. And after all that burning, all the digging done by both players, we are separated by a single on the side of CryticaLapis. As Lapis will have to take a few more burns, which will give Winter about a Tetris lead. Although Winter will have to burn that lead away, unable to capitalize it, and as another drought appears to be forming, the bar finally shows up for both, and we get a simul Tetris. As the players synced back up in the piece sequence, the next boxes were identical. Which is rare, as with the lines tied up, it is CryticaLapis with a Tetris lead, 305 for Critical, 287 for Winter. Critical looking to make this board a bit nicer. We'll have to take some burns, and in doing so, this will give Winter a Tetris lead now. But this board getting more complicated. Sets up the Dirty Tetris. Dirty Tetris for Lapis. But this board still not in the clear. Has to continue taking burns. As Winter will also have to take burns. Lapis will reopen the right hand side. Now just waiting on the bar. Will burn down to the original hole in the stack. Will reopen the right. Tetris for Lapis, but Tetris for Winter. Followed by another one. And she now has a 4 Tetris lead from all the burning that had to be done from Lapis, but now it's Winter's turn to do burning. As some unfavorable pieces get tossed her way, so this will let Lapis dig back into this lead. As Winter trying to burn out of this as efficiently as possible. And will do so. But did lose 2 Tetrises from that 3 Tetris lead. Is now only ahead by a Tetris and a half. And we are into the 19 speeds. Winter 605. Lapis 602 on level 20. So Winter maintaining that Tetris lead that she accrued from the 18 speeds. As we are off on 19 now. Lapis having to do a bit of burning, but so is Winter. As Winter's board starts to spiral just a bit. This is going to let Lapis take the real-time lead. But depending on how fast Winter can get out of it with a beautiful adjustment, will determine how much Lapis can accrue this lead to, as now it is Lapis with a series of burns that need to be taken. Winter will Tetris 699. Lapis 698 on level 23 is ahead in the line count. So this will give Winter the opportunity to open back up this lead. Tetris for Winter 739. And with the lines just barely tied, it will be Winter with the Tetris lead, as Lapis had to take a few burns. Tetris for Winter, Tetris for Lapis, 830 for Winter, 773 for Lapis. As Lapis will have to take a few burns. Winter setting up Tetris for Winter, Tetris for Lapis. The score going back and forth, but Winter remaining on top. Gets spammed with bars and can use none of them. As Lapis now would love one of those bars. This board getting very high for Lapis. Is there anything that can be done? Needs something to the left. The S is going to hang, and Lapis is going to be done at 814. Winter at 971 is good for game number 1. And we'll start the match off 1-0. And Winter with the max out. Does not get the J tuck. Gets the dirty Tetris. Wow. Winter mullining a bit is already good, just in case she didn't hear me. Tetris down the middle, 1.2 for Winter. As Winter just mullining this out, will probably be dead here, will be dead. So we'll top out with 1-2-7-2. And we'll take the first point. Nice 19.5 from Lapis, as we ready up for game number 2. Both our players are ready, so we can count it down in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. So I think I need to refresh Winter just a tiny bit. Let me do that. There we go. Lapis will be the first one to score a Tetris in this game. So we'll take a 1 Tetris lead. But not when the lines are tied. They are separated by a single on the side of Winter. As 2 Tetrises back to back for Lapis. Winter with the same. So the lead remains on Winter's side by a single. As Lapis up high waiting for this bar has to take a multitude of burns. Winter will get the Tetris. 139 for Winter at 28. 169 at 37 for Lapis. So it is Winter with the lead for the time being, but now having to take a few burns up high. Bar will come Tetris for Winter. Another one as well, and that will put her into the lead, as she does have a 1 Tetris lead. Tetris for Winter. To go to 301 at 59 lines, 287 for Lapis at 61. So it is only about half a Tetris lead for Winter, and a few misdrops on her board will cause significant slowdown and will give Lapis the opportunity to open up a lead here. And Lapis will capitalize on the digging that had to be done and will get a 1 Tetris lead out of it. And it is exactly 1 Tetris. Now it is Lapis's turn to take a few burns. Puts the bar down the left to reopen the right. Winter waiting for this bar. We'll get it. Tetris for Winter. For 26 for Winter at 92. 434 for Lapis at 94. So 8,000 points separate the players as we approach the 100 line mark. Winter taking a few skims. Now set up for the Tetris. There it is. Tetris for Winter. As Lapis has now opened up a 2 Tetris lead from the very slight efficiency difference. Tetris for Winter. 511 at 120 lines. 553 for Lapis, who is waiting on this bar at 121. The bar will finally show Winter needing this bar for the left-hand side. Now needing it for the right. It will go down the right, as Lapis will transition at 607. Winter double flip transitions at 525 is still up high. Will opt to just burn this down. Will no longer wait for the dirty left wheel Tetris. And will get rewarded with a Tetris down the right hand side. 554 for Winter, 657 for Lapis. So a 100,000 point lead in game number 2 for Lapis. As Winter now with a bar dependency down the center of the stack will open it up and decide to just burn it all the way down. Will clean up the stack, but Lapis now opening up this 150,000 point lead on Winter. 684 for Winter, 834. Make that 864 for Lapis. $902 for Lapis now, 720 for Winter. Tetris for Winter, 751. We'll go into level 25 at 782, so 150,000 points is the difference. Simul Tetris for the players. Tetris for Winter, but Lapis already with the max out. So 200,000 points almost is the difference now for Lapis. Lapis already with the almost 1.1. That Tetris will put him over 1.1 for Lapis as we approach the kill screen. Tetris again. Winter 954 looking for the max out into. Lapis with 1 Tetris remaining will get it 1.2 into the kill screen for Lapis, and another Tetris to go to 1.24. Winter with the max out into the kill screen has 200,000 points of chase down to do, and Lapis is continuing to live. Winter set up for the Tetris, gets it, A79, Lapis C90. Tetris for Winter, B11, starting to catch up by playing just slightly more aggressive as Lapis's board starts to crumble. Has to dig this down and is managing to do so. This will let Winter set up for Tetrises. She has set up, takes the triple. D15 for Lapis. Winter waiting for this Tetris. Where's the bar? Misses the S or the T tuck. And now it's Winter's turn to do some digging with a Tetris for Lapis. D63. Winter continuing to burn this down. Lapis setup gets the triple. Winter's board starting to fall apart. The J will help. Tetris for Winter, C20, but D93 on the side of CryticaLapis, set up for a Tetris. Has to cover it, now burning it down. Winter looking to get this board back down to normality. Lapis is staying alive though, and that is putting the pressure on Winter. E08 for Lapis. Winter sets up dirty, gets the Tetris. C87 now, closing the gap. Just 135,000 points, but we're starting to run out of time. Lapis is still alive. Still fighting, still increasing that lead. E29, a misdrop for Winter now. Has to do a bit of burning. As Lapis continues to just put on the points. E40 for Lapis. D17, Tetris D58 for Winter. We're on level 38. The double kill screen just 10 lines away. E65, Winter sets up for the dirty Tetris. E10 has 4 lines left. Needs another one, I think. Has to set up, needs a bar for the Tetris. Where's the bar for the Tetris for Winter? The bar's not gonna show! And she will not chase down the ever-digging Lapis. And Lapis will take it and tie us up 1-1. E81 to E10. We took it all the way to the house. And that early lead from Lapis just proven to be insurmountable.
The storm starts to fade. The sky gets more blue as it goes away. The sound of the drops slipping all the leaves. They run a race in which they don't believe. They think they're escaping the clouds. The truth is they're just falling down.
The bar is the lowest piece. Let me take a look. Come on. 109. Yeah. It was a very droughty game. Yep, feel free to take a minute. I am going to go use the bathroom. I will be right back. Tetris for Winter. Another one as well. Lapis with a long bar dependency. We'll fill that in, take the Tetris, and we'll take a Tetris lead through the first 24 lines of this third game here. Winter missing the bar to the left, or the T to the left, will have to solve this board. We'll get the Vits. Now has to figure out how to solve this. We'll make a T-spin setup. Is now like quadruple long bar dependent though, and decides too late what to do with the bar. And now this board is tricky for Winter. We'll open the right hand side, would love a bar. Bar comes when the well is closed, however, but double flip of the bar! It isn't the end of the world for Winter, as another one does come. She will get the triple and the Tetris. That was scary. $220,000 for Winter at 54 lines, 277 for CryticaLapis at 53 lines. So about a 2.5 Tetris lead for Lapis. As Lapis up very high, we'll get a bar for the Tetris. And we'll take the safety triple. Tetris for Lapis, Tetris for Winter. There's an interesting pullback for Lapis. Will leave a bar dependency. As Lapis now waits for this bar. We'll take a double into the Tetris, and the T doesn't go all the way left. Now needs to hit this 5-tap. We'll just opt to turn it not into a bar dependency, and we'll just burn it down line by line. Pieces will sour the day though, and will complicate the board for Lapis. Squares and S's when that's not what he needs, and this board is starting to climb. The J doesn't go in the J dependency. Now would love another J. Gets that T all the way to the left. The L works. The S works as well, but now would love a J. Guess what's not showing up? And the pieces definitely sour the day now, as CryticaLapis will be done at 378. And at 438, Winter will be good for game number 3, and we'll go to match point for the set. Those pieces were horrible for Lapis. Z and O most common, yeah. And that's what killed Lapis. The Z's and O's. What's F6 do? I don't know, what does F6 do? Open console? I don't know. Moves your cursor to the address bar in web browsers. That's what it does. As we will move this game forward. And we will count down game number 4 in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. as early on there will be an opening drought here. Both players will survive it. 50,000 points for Lapis, 58,000 for Winter. Both will find a Tetris though and increase that score. As the players are in their rhythm in the opening of this game. Tetris for Lapis, Tetris for Winter. So Lapis will come out of the first 30 lines with a half a Tetris lead. Off of the back of a few burns from Winter that were a Tetris summed for Lapis. Tetris for Winter, Tetris for Lapis. Lapis unable to get that bar, or the square, not the bar, I always say bar. The square all the way to the left-hand side, and the J will double flip on top of it. So the top of the board will require some attention with a nice double vid setup from Lapis. We'll get the Tetris to bring this board all the way down. Meanwhile, Winter just Tetrising. $334,000 for Winter, 332,000 for Lapis, one line ahead, so it is a lead for Winter. As Lapis will have to do a bit of burning, but so will Winter. As the spar refuses to show up. Tetris for Lapis, 358. Winter's board now getting up high. The L will work beautifully. T is perfect. Will not go aggressive. Now waiting for this bar down the left-hand side. We'll get the, I believe, a triple. I don't believe that was a Tetris. I could be wrong though. As now it is Lapis's board who is in trouble. Would love a bar. The L will work wonders. But will cause a bit of burning that needs to be taken. So this will allow Winter to open up a bit of a lead. As she crosses the 100 line mark with 419. 395 for Lapis, who will reopen the right hand side and score a Tetris. 419 for Lapis. So 46,000 points is the difference for Winter. The lead is in her favor. As we approach the level 19 speeds. And the lead is gone. It is 2,222 points that separate the players when the lines are tied. So no lead was gained or lost. Winter will transition into level 19 at 541. Lapis in at 557. So Lapis just being slightly more efficient than Winter, as Winter now has to take a few burns. But so does Lapis. Winter setting up Dirty. Dirty Tetris for Winter. Down the center of the stack will get the perfect pieces to burn open the well, and will now go back to normal right well stacking. Tetris for Lapis 614 on level 20. Tetris for Winter 628 flat on level 21. So it is 13,000 points that is the difference between these two players. As Winter now with the bar dependency has to fill it with the L, which means she will be unable to score Tetrises unless she goes for row 2, which she does. 696 for Winter, 754 for Lapis. Tetris for Lapis 822. Another one 852. So Lapis with 89,000 points of a lead when the lines are tied. So this is about the same lead that Lapis had in the last game, where we went all the way to 39 and Winter could not chase it down. So will the same thing happen this game? Wait, I have the... It should be Lapis on match point. Right? I think it's Lapis on match point. Well, anyway. We'll worry about that after the game ends. 847 for Winter, 994 for Lapis. Winter opens the well, Tetris 893 into 28. Lapis with the max out, still on 27. Looking to get a bit more score. Tetris for Winter 932 has one Tetris left before kill screen. Hello, AV. Welcome home from dinner. Tetris for Winter into the kill screen 972. Tetris into the kill screen. For Lapis 1.1. Winter with the max with the Tetris. Tetris for Critical though. 8B83. Tetris for Winter A87. Winter putting on the Jets this time around. Not looking to have the same thing happen. Wants to be able to chase this down. Is 100,000 points behind Lapis with the 1.2. As both players build for Tetrises, Winter takes the triple. Critical set up for a Tetris, has to burn out of it. Winter now burning. Will burn out of it. Is set up for the Tetris. Where's the bar? For Winter, has to skim. Tetris for Winter, B69. And Lapis's board is starting to spiral, but gets the Tetris to bring the board back down. C76, still 100,000 point lead for Lapis. And a missed drop for Winter is going to slow her down. And if I am correct about the points being wrong, Winter needs to win this. Winter set up dirty, gets the bar to the left, now needs another one. Will decide to just burn it down. Would love a J, the J not showing. D88 for Lapis, who is still clean, setting up for Tetrises. Tetris for Lapis, another 1.4 back-to-back. T-spin hit for Winter. She's set up dirty. Has to burn it down to the triple. C43 for Winter, now 200,000 points behind, and we're running out of time. A Tetris for Winter. C90 on level 38 has 10 lines to chase down CryticaLapis. Tetris for Winter, D48. Lapis E74. And we're running out of time. One more line for Winter. She has no burns. She's set up for the Tetris. Where's the bar? There's the bar. D99 into level 39. And she's not going to be able to chase down CryticaLapis for a second time. And I believe that is game. I think I gave the point to the wrong person. Is it 2-2 now? You ET twice? Okay. It's decider time. Yay! Then 1-2 long matches. Okay. Thank you. I'm suffering. I need to go to bed after this. Desperately. Let's break the streak of me getting a good game into ETing. Yeah. So we do have a decider. Let's take a break, since the game went to 39 again. So feel free to stretch your hands, drink some water. All numbers? Is it all numbers? Oh god, it is. All number seed for the decider. Oh no. We have a ready from Lapis. Just waiting on a ready from Winter. We have two readies, so we can count down game number 5 in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Good luck to our players. As Moodus, thank you for the raid. Party of 6. Welcome in. You're just in time for this decider for Classic Tetris bi-weekly upper semi-finals match between Winter and Lapis. If this is not the upper semifinals, then blame Winter. Moodus is a mod? When did I mod you? Holy moly. That had to be a while ago. Wild mod choice. It had to have been for like CTL. Where I just modded Moodus. Welcome in, Vandy. As through the first 20 lines, we are separated by half a single. Legacy do nothing mod, just like in CTL. Based, I think? I don't know. Winter's board, double bar dependent. So we'll have to take a few burns here, which will give Lapis an early lead of about a Tetris and a half through the first 36 lines of this final game. Winter unable to use that bar for a Tetris. We'll use that one though for the column 8 Tetris. Now is forced to take burns before getting Tetris ready again. We'll take those burns and set up the Vits. Wow! Tetris for Winter. That was a crazy adjustment. And misdrops. The J shortly after. So we'll have to take a few burns here. Misses the double tuck. As Lapis's board getting up decently high. This isn't dangerous by any means, not very dependent. Will burn out of it. 293 for Lapis, 276 for Winter. Simul Tetris. As both players are back to nice and clean stacks. As the... what would you even call that? That's not a 5 and below. That was like a 6 and below, but 6 and below is the opposite. Elevated 5 and below, that's what we're calling that. From Winter as we start to approach the 100 line mark. 368,000 for Winter, 407 for Lapis. Make that 452 at 96. So Lapis almost 10 lines ahead as a double flip from Winter is going to slow her down. We'll solve it rather quickly. Now has a series of tucks. I think went for a bar spin there and missed it. I don't quite know what Winter was going for. Winter will cross the 100 line mark at 405. Lapis already over it at 499. So a 100,000 point lead in 18 this time for CryticaLapis. We've seen him have 100,000 point leads in 19. But Winter has just not been able to keep up the pace with Lapis, and therefore will give him a very big lead. 151,000 points in favor of Lapis. 440 for Winter, 570 for Lapis. As the board for Lapis starts to look a bit interesting, but will get the J-Tuck to clean everything back up. Tetris for Lapis. One more before transition. We'll transition at 620. And we're off in the final 19 speeds of the set for Lapis, as he sets up for a Tetris Winter in at 510. So 110,000 points is the difference. At transition point, as Winter's board starts to fall apart, but she gets beautiful pieces to burn it down. She will manage to stay alive, but that is going to let Lapis open up this lead even further, as she has to keep this board safe. 520 for Winter, 730 for Lapis. Tetris for Winter, 200,000 points is the difference between the players. As we start the mid-transition, mid-post, 609 for Winter, 814 on 22 for Lapis. Lapis pushing the pedal to the floor for this final game. Tetris for Winter, 695. Now Lapis finding a bit of slowdown, so this will let Winter start to claw into this lead, but the drought is going to deny her, as the T doesn't go all the way to the left. Gets the L over, the T will open the well, but the bar comes when the well is closed, and that means Winter cannot capitalize on the digging that Lapis had to do. Will finally open the well. 741. Now she can start closing this gap, as Lapis is still digging. Tetris for Winter, 772, 903 for Lapis. Finally open and clean, but this lead down to 127,000 points. So Winter has closed the gap by 100,000 points off of the back of that single dig from Lapis. Tetris for Lapis, Tetris for Winter, 842 to 973. Tetris for Winter, 877. Max out for Lapis into 28, A12. And we now approach the end of the 19 speeds. 2 lines until 29. Lapis will go in at A56. Winter, 1 Tetris left at 982. As Lapis is off on the kill screen. Winter setting up for this last Tetris. There it is, Tetris A19. So this lead shrunk all the way down from 200,000 points, but Winter missed drop of the J. Now has to burn this down. Lapis set up for a triple. Now has to do a bit of board management of his own. Winter burning this down. Set up for a Tetris, but the bar doesn't show, covers the well. Lapis's board is climbing. Tetris for Winter, A82. B38 for Lapis, staying alive. Needs a J, the J shows up. Gets the double, gets the board back down. Now would love a bar as Winter set up. Tetris for Winter, B27. She's closing the gap even further, as Lapis still has to do a bit of cleanup. B67 for Lapis, B37 for Winter. She Tetrises into the lead. B78, Lapis Tetrises back to respond. C12, 1.2 for Lapis, 1.1 for Winter. Lapis maintains the lead, but Lapis is ahead by 10 lines. Winter has the pace lead, but Tetris for Lapis, C67. And Winter sets up, gets the Tetris, C48. She's responding to every Tetris that Lapis throws, and Lapis's board is starting to climb out of control. He has the lead, but he needs to stay alive to stop Winter from closing this. But the board is going to spiral out of control, and Winter set up for the Tetris, D06. Needs a D30. She takes the double. and will just play it safe. Needs D30, has D22, is set up for the Tetris. Where's the bar? Takes the triple, and she triples into the victory. And will close it out. 3-2 on level 37. Cannot get the bar to the left, and that would have been it. D48. But it's enough to take this match 3-2 and be the winner of this upper semifinals. Winter